What's poppin', ladies and gents? Oh, now we're in business. And check the audio. 2 seconds. We're in business now. This is the good stuff. All right, look. I'm going to drop some fun stuff. Now I'm going to talk about the reasons why I have clients that do $200,000 last month. Another client did $400,000 last month. Probably going to be doing 500, 600 really darn fast. Who is this guy? Yeah, exactly, right? This is the new studio. I'm going to show you guys some fun stuff. I'm going to speak in a way that makes you say, holy shit, I had no clue. And I'll bet you by the end of this, you're going to realize the reason why you don't have clients doing $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a month is because you keep trying to do fun stuff. Keep trying to be cute instead of mastering the simplicity of all marketing. We have clients that are doing these $200,000, $400,000 a month, two separate clients, in spite of the fact that we do no targeting. We are running nearly no videos. All of our ads are headlines. And we do this even though we're one client. The client is the salesperson and the fulfillment, still doing $200,000 a month. And the other one is only 13 months into their business, brand new business, right? So you need to develop this thorough belief that the reason why you are having trouble, you are not successful, and you're not attracting better clients is because you keep missing the basics. The lesson I'm going to show you right here, right now, is the key reason why we have clients doing $200,000 and $400,000 and soon to be probably $500,000 to $50,000 to $600,000 a month. I'm not talking ads. I'm not talking targeting. I'm talking the thing that you keep missing and you keep skipping over. You ready? Here's how it works. Like I said, I have clients that are doing $400,000 a month because I and the client have mastered a very simple image, a very simple idea, a very simple thought process, one that is not hard, not challenging, but you keep skipping because you would much rather have distractions in your business, ones that we refuse to have. Here's proof. 2019, we wrote a biz plan. Wednesday did 60 grand. $40,000 contracted. 30 to 40 applications a day. 1/3 are qualified by him, by his metric and measurement. $85,000. I have 2 clients doing these numbers because we mastered the the simplicity of marketing and is mastering this image right here because we have put a lot of effort into mastering an understanding of these stages. We can run ads that make people say, hot damn, I should be paying you money. You know me, you know what my problems are, you know what I want, everything under the sun. We have divided our markets into people who are most aware, people who are product aware, solution aware, problem aware, and people who are completely unaware. If you are advertising marketing poorly, you are misrepresenting the ad and the person it's supposed to go to and their stage of awareness of your product and service. This is key. It's strategic. It's purposeful. It's required. This is why I do not do fun, creative, eye-catching ads. Instead, I only do ads that appeal to the awareness stage in the most simplest of sentences to get somebody who says, that's me. I should pay you money. Most of y'all, in fact, if you're doing less than my clients, you have challenges about the awareness stages. I'll give you examples. If you are going into a store, not talking to anybody, going to exactly where the store item is, buying something, and checking out, you are the most aware person. These people are very interested in not talking to anybody and just going in and buying. That's all they want to do. They are aware of everything that you do. They are aware of their problems, aware of solutions, they're aware of the products. They are buying. That is wildly different from somebody who has no damn clue. But you keep thinking they're the same damn person with the same marketing message. When I go to Publix, I'm buying 3 things, nothing else. I'm checking out. I don't have to talk to anybody. That's how I operate at Publix. But if I were going to Home Depot, I would walk in and say, I'm looking for this very specific thing. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's the right thing. I just know I need to buy this product. So I will do one of 2 things. Look it up on the web app or talk to a person. And when I'm talking to this person, I'm not open to the conversation of, hey, what are you working on? I'm only open to the conversation of, it's in aisle D2, I will walk you there. I am very much aware of the product that I'm looking to buy. I just need help getting there. Most marketing messages only appeal to most aware and product aware. And guess what? They are appealing to the smallest of the markets. You need to appeal to the largest of the markets. Going on with this Home Depot example, if I'm sitting in my house and going, I totally forgot to go ahead and deal with this pest control problem in my backyard, I'm going to go to Home Depot and I'm going to ask somebody. I'm going to ask them what products they recommend. I'm going to ask them what solutions they recommend. I will say things like, I've been thinking about doing blank. This is my current challenge. I was thinking about buying X. What do you think? I am aware that Home Depot has a solution. I just don't know what that solution is. I don't know what product that is, and I don't know how much it should cost. If I sit in my backyard and go, God damn, I am covered in insects, I will go to Home Depot and say, every time I go to my backyard, I am covered in insects. It is a massive problem. I've got itches. I've got scratches. I've got bug bites. I'm not sitting there going, oh, I should have bought the pest control stuff. I'm sitting there going, I'm so fucking itchy every time I go to my backyard. So what do? I go to Home Depot and I engage in this decision tree. I start with the problem. We talk about solutions. They point to the product and I check out. The Home Depot person is accidentally aware that taking me from problem to purchase requires a conversation. And the biggest market is people who are unaware. They're unaware of the fact that their backyard should be looking a different way. They are unaware of the fact that their backyard could have these things. They are unaware of the fact that their backyard could have a whole bunch of bugs that bite their kids and give them bug disease. And that's why you'll see ads that start off with pictures of kids in the backyard and the narrator saying, you may not know this, but there's a chance that red ants in your backyard could give your kid an allergic reaction. Here's how to fix it. And they go through the whole thing. Unaware, problem, solution, product, and make them buy. This is how your marketing is supposed to work. This is the type of marketing my clients have mastered to go from 200,000, from 0 to 200, 0 to 400, 400 to 600. It's this kind of stuff that just simply works. Give you another example. In the dating space, There are plenty of people saying, I am fine being single. And the biggest opportunity for dating apps is to make them aware that they could be more fine or happier. That's why you'll see ads for dating apps that are not Hinge versus Bumble, but instead talking about the people who are unaware that they could be happier. And they start off with a person who is mildly attractive, sitting in the house saying, I'm fine being single, making a call, and their friends are too busy with their wives, their girlfriends, their husbands, their boyfriends. And then that protagonist says, I wish I had someone to go out with. That's how your marketing is supposed to work. You're supposed to understand the difference between aware and unaware, the difference between problem, solution, product, etc. You need to take people up this tree to a point where they go, I've heard of dating apps. I don't know which one. Actually, I've heard of Hinge. Is it any good? And then they, in fact, buy the boost. The marketing messages you run at these individual stages for these individual people will be different. Another example. Cholesterol medication. You can live your whole life with high cholesterol and you are 100% fine. You are unaware that you have high cholesterol and that's how you're going to live your life. And it probably will do nothing to you at all whatsoever until one day your friend gets a heart attack and you go, how the fuck did he die? And when you hear about somebody dying, that's always the first thing. Oh my God, how did he die? Every single time. Suddenly, everyone's aware of the fact that they could get hit by a bus. Suddenly, your wife says, did you hear about George? Blah, 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 died and his wife had nothing. Jeff, you need to get life insurance. These are real life conversations started off by the fact that people were first unaware and then something happened to make them aware. This is your marketing message. And then pretty quickly, people have a conversation and say, holy shit, I need to get checked. Does anybody know of a good doctor? And then you can have a conversation about the test that needs to be run. And most people have zero clue about the test that needs to be run. If I was in the cholesterol business space, I would realize that there is an opportunity for a branded cholesterol test that you can ask for at your doctor's office and say, I want this test. And when you look at the people in the health space that are optimizing and becoming these biohackers, they talk about the tests that the doctors should run because they are aware of the solution. They don't know of the problem. They don't know of the stats, but they know if they take a test, they can figure it out. That's why you will see all these testosterone-based ads talking about, do you have low testosterone? They can fix that. They are talking about the solution and the problem. That's how that works. If we're talking product aware, all of a sudden these branded names matter. Like Lipitor. My cholesterol is high, but I have heard of Lipitor before. You're talking with your provider, the doctor, the dentist, you're at Google, you're typing in branded names and specific products because you've heard about that from an ad that had a marketing message. And then the most aware is the people that go to the doctor and say, hey, I insist on getting Lipitor. Pharmaceutical companies will spend a boatload of money running commercials that take people through the entirety of the awareness stage. They are not running ads that say Lipitor 50% off. They are not running ads that say Viagra 50% off. They don't care that you're buying and you already know you are the smallest market. They don't got to worry about you. And when you run ads specifically to the most aware, your campaign will sputter, have swings, not be normal, and you'll say, my campaigns only work for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks instead of 2 or 3 or 4 years. This is why you don't understand the simplicity of the unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and most aware. You're not adjusting your marketing messages to your avatar and your messaging and your communications and your ads. You're just copying whatever the fuck you saw on the internet. instead of addressing the largest market they could possibly sell. Once you've done that, you can talk about problems, talk about solutions, you talk about products. Once you've mastered these steps, clients will come to you saying, I want to buy your stuff. We have run a sequencing of messages just like this in this order and taken clients from, I have no idea, and I had no clue that you existed, all the way spending $17,000 for a 3-month tax planning session. We did not talk to people who already had a CPA or a tax prep person. We talked to people who did not even know that was a solution and did not even know that they had a problem. That is the biggest possible market. That is what is making our clients go from 0 to 200, 0 to 400, and 400 to 500, and possibly even $600,000 a month. This deep understanding. That is the end of today's lesson. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas, the floor is now open. I'll go to the Zoom chat and then we'll see what happens. Matt says, do you know Alan? I do. Kurt says, what niche are they in? I'm not sharing. Somebody says, what's good, big dog? How you doing? SJ only win. Simone says, how much do I need to spend to start with ads, solo freelance doing email marketing? A lot, a little, as much as you possibly can do. It's highly likely that your best, let's do this. It's highly likely that your best opportunity is building out case studies and proof. And you could do that by analyzing what other people are doing for their emails, creating a list of IG reels where you have a deep dive and understanding, developing a series of sequences or marketing messages that line up with what we just talked about, and ultimately taking a stranger to saying, damn, I need to be doing some email marketing. The purpose of the structure of my answer is to avoid me saying $30. Because if you hear $30, Simone, you're going to spend $30 and it won't match up with somebody's awareness, unawareness, product, solution, etc. So my suggestion to you is you create content and videos and ads based upon an avatar's awareness stage, set that up, and then spend $30 with an offer. What's going on, Tucker? What's going on, Matthew? What's going on, Sava says, where is everybody? They're on the way. Sava says it's 2:23 a.m. my time zone. And can't leave because it's value. I appreciate the love through the internet. And Busan says it's 4:54 a.m. and I need to sleep, but I can't miss it. Appreciate it. Ashton Hunter says, what are your thoughts on starting local ads rather than national? If you start with local advertising, you're going to take and we're going to stick with the example, you will only be addressing a very, 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 very small market with a very, very, very small stage. And you will accidentally be only targeting the people that know they need to be buying chiropractor services for $17, $47, $97. That crazy discounted offer, whatever we're calling it. You're only talking to the smallest market. And on a local stage, that small market for a business that exists within what? A 30-minute drive, maybe 15, is what? 200 people? 300 people? You need to expand the awareness stages. You need to talk to people who are completely unaware of the fact that a chiropractor can fix blank, blank, and blank. You need to be expanding the marketing message so that you're talking to people who have a problem with X, Y, Z, but didn't even know that it could be solved. Solution the same, product the same, and et cetera, et cetera. The challenge with local is that universe is so very small that the traction of your ads is to a very small number of people. So if I ran an ad for a national chiropractor chain that said, get a $19 adjustment, my most aware would still be like 5 million people. And my unaware would be 300 million people. If I ran the same ad for the chiropractor down the street, it would be 100, 200 people at the most. That's the challenge with local. It's difficult. There's not much you can do. And that's why I'm not a fan of running local anymore. Busan says, and I'm mispronouncing your name, I know that, but what am I going to do, right? _dot says, this may be a dumb question, but does this mean we only run ads for unaware and it will convert all audience buckets, or is there has to be some type of retargeting? That's a very good question. You should be running different ads at different stages of your campaign. And when you talk with a client and you're trying to talk about the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're only talking to that. You only have an opportunity to talk to that very small, most aware. If you're talking to a client about 12, 18, 36-month campaign, you can spend the first 3 months running ads, marketing messages, content, YouTube, emails, text messages that appeal to people who are entirely unaware. And then you can spend the next 3 months talking to people who are only aware of their problem. And the next 3 months only running ads and only running marketing messages and communications and emails and text messages where you're only talking to people who are aware of the solution. And you present all of them in a sequence. If you have a tight time frame, you can see why it would be difficult to run an ad for one day that is for the unaware, one ad for the next day that is problem aware, one ad for the next day that is solution aware, one ad for the next day that is the most aware. So I want to answer your question in a way that is actually like applicable, right? It does not mean you run only unaware. It means your marketing message evolves over time and you take your followers, your audience, your market, your community through that journey. And as people progress, they'll end up making a boatload of money. Salon giving the compliment. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Says crazy value. Sivan says, I don't have a strong portfolio of national ads. That's the cool part. Everyone has access to a portfolio of national ads. You can find them, you can create them, you can collect them. Every single national ad that has ever been run exists somewhere for an industry like yours, for a client like yours, or can be adapted for a client like yours. The lack of a strong portfolio, what you mean to say is a long history of client results. What you actually need to say is, I don't yet have a very strong collection and understanding of what works at a national level for aware, unaware, problem, solution, etc. So what you can do is start to develop that understanding. You can start collecting chiropractor ads, insurance ads, plumbing ads, whatever you want to call them, create a Canva board and place them according to their awareness stage. Within 10, 15, 20 rotations, you have a swipe file of ads that have worked, that have ad spend, that are backed by huge companies, and have a very high likelihood of communicating a marketing message to you, to your client, and their market in a way that makes a lot of damn sense. So you're saying you don't have a strong portfolio. I'm saying you just haven't built one yet. Ashton Hunter says, I have a B2B offer for gyms and PT studios. Every time I run ads nationally to try and get clients, I get worse leads compared to the like when picking a city and running them. What are your thoughts? I believe you're saying client getting. So you want to get gyms as clients or PT studios as clients. And now I'm going to give you a couple examples. If you happen to be talking to a client that is most aware of advertising online, they will start talking to you and saying, but Facebook, but TikTok, but Google, and have their thoughts and feelings and ideas on the most aware stages. That is the smallest market. You may actually want to be talking to businesses who are completely unaware of the opportunity. And the opportunity is not exclusive to making more money. There are lots of other added benefits of advertising, such as more referrals, better reputation, better community, better employees, brand, social status, et cetera, et cetera. So you could run ads that say, if you are a gym, you are unlikely to be aware of all the cool benefits that come with consistent advertising. Let me list it out for you. And you can list them out. And you can provide scientific proof written out by a journal. You can find it, citations and all, that say something to prove you right. And you can have a green screen background and you talking through it where you show these scientific journals and you show these added benefits and you show samples and examples of other clients and customers at a national, global, or local level. And you can talk about one of the reasons why national gyms like Gold's Gym advertise is not necessarily to get quote unquote more customers, but instead is to get more blank. And here's proof. You can even go down the path and say, you know what happens when you master this? You plug in Sydney Sweeney and you get a $200 million stock bump. So I believe, Ashton, the challenge here is that you are running accidentally marketing messages that don't line up with a very specific client avatar. And the gyms and the PTs in the Northeast are a lot different than the gyms and the PTs in the Southwest, Florida, Texas, you name it. So you have to get very, very specific on that type of client avatar, their awareness stage, their pain points, their problems, etc. That's why you're not getting good results. Next, I'm going to deal with the shitty part or the worst leads. The challenge here is that we have not actually built in a filtering process. We have not allowed for qualification and disqualification. And we have not allowed for quote unquote data to be sent back to Facebook. Side note, I still believe it's the ad, but we'll go with my idea. What you need to be doing is setting up a funnel that lines up with B2B. That could be IGDM to your profile funnel, where your profile funnel is stacked with lots of proof, or add to a survey, add to a video with a button that says, see if you qualify, have a survey that qualifies and disqualifies, have them book an appointment, then have them show up on the thank you page, and then the conversion is on the thank you page. You could even take it further and go inside of your CRM and drag the cards over. And when you drag the card over, the data gets sent back to Facebook saying that is a conversion, which is the nearly ultimate way of doing it. Outside of that, Ashton, I cannot diagnose it. I'm just running on hypotheticals. But I am of the belief that we do not deeply understand the avatar of the gyms and the PT studios. And we are not creating marketing messages for those avatars. For example, when I ran ads for dentists, I would say things like get more dental implant cases. I was getting the worst leads with the worst quality of the worst businesses of the worst dentists that had no fucking money. When I ran ads that say, keep your dentist busy and give them lots of earning opportunities, I was very quickly talking to multi-location businesses that had 5, 10, or even 15 locations that routinely spend $1 million a year on marketing because the CEO only cares about one thing, which is keeping that schedule stacked. That's it. Nothing else. They don't care about show rates because they're double book. They don't care about closing rates because that's the job of the salesperson dentist. They only care about keeping that schedule packed. Same avatar, different awareness, different marketing message. I hope that provides some clarity. Bouchon says, why not simultaneously for different audience buckets? That is correct. You can run that stages like I referred to all at the same time. Nothing wrong with that at all whatsoever, but it's a little bit challenging for me to communicate those technicalities over Facebook Live. So that's why I said it the way I was saying it. But if you know how to do that, man, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. Eugen with the compliment says, what's good, boss? I've been running ads on Instagram for my client, but I haven't gotten any engagement. How much should I keep spending daily and how long should I keep the ad running? Eugen, it's highly unlikely that you've created an ad that is accomplishing the result you're looking for based upon what you're saying. It's highly likely that you need to make a new ad. My keep and kill KPIs are $100. I spend $100 on anything. If it's providing some level of like, this could be working, I keep it. By $100, if I get no level of anything close to this might be working, I kill it. But I get a feeling that you spent more than $100. You haven't gotten engagement, which I think you mean actually a close or a sale. And you're saying, how long should I keep spending? I could say you should be spending up to 10 to 15% of the sale, but the topic of today is awareness stages and making sure your marketing message lines up with that. So I'm going to stick with that idea and say it's likely, Eugen, that we have not gotten specific enough on the avatar, what they're looking for, their awareness stage, and the marketing message. Ashton says thanks, and Bhushan says thanks. I hope it was worth your time. That said, I'm going to look at Facebook and YouTube. And if you've got any questions on IG, keep them coming. Parker says, what niche? I ain't sharing, but it's good to see you, my man. Alvin says, good shit. What's poppin', my man? Daniel Tapia says, let's jam on an interview. We can do that. And Paul says, what do you prefer instead of local? National. Running national businesses or even regional businesses means several things. The first is that they are big enough to actually afford a real retainer relationship, as opposed to the solopreneur who happens to be a plumber, who is living foot to mouth or hand to mouth. And when he pays you, he's actually not paying his mortgage. That is a bad client. When you focus on regional and national, you're only talking to businesses that can afford to pay you the $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 a month of brain space that's actually required to make these campaigns work. The second thing is you're immediately talking to a client that has good sales infrastructure. So you can sit in your superpower where your only job is to generate time, effort, energy, and money, is to turn time, effort, energy, money into marketing qualified leads. That means form fills, that means checkouts, that means appointments, things like that. You sit in that superpower, develop deep, meaningful understanding, know the hooks, marketing angels, awareness stages, etc. And then all they have to do is follow their script and close. If they are a national or regional business, they probably have that set up already. I'll give you another example. I can sit in the marketing seat of a good old-fashioned plumber. And if he don't know how to walk into some dude's house, say hi with a smile, and have a conversation that converts about water heaters, plumbing, piping, dishwashering, there's nothing I can do for that guy at all whatsoever. But if I'm talking to somebody who can do that, chances are they're already making a lot of money. They've already grown their business. They know what the fuck they're doing. They just need more. So those are the reasons why. There are other advantages as well, such as they probably have more research. They probably know their clients better. They probably have a competitive advantage. They have all this other stuff. That is why I prefer going for anything beyond local, regional, multi-state, national, things like that. As a side note, Paul, I very often accidentally viewed myself as a savior to local businesses. There's a reason why they suck. So don't let that impact your life. Alvin says, what about the awareness stage campaign on the unaware messaging? That is a very strong question. I'm going to try to avoid the technicalities. It becomes a case-by-case marketing message basis where you got to plug in some stuff into the ads manager, tie in a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and there's no way I can do that on this live. So great question that ties into something deeper, but I'm doing my best to keep this a little bit more like theoretical. And Paul says, Speaking to my pain, thank you. Paul, stop doing local businesses. It's not saving nobody nothing. Not you, not them, not their clients. They got enough bullshit on their lap. They can't help you and you can't help them. Go for state, go for regional, go for national. The marketing message is better. They're more apt to pick up the phone. They're more apt to pay you real life money. And it probably only takes 30 days to figure it out anyway. So there you go. Ashton says, is the $100 test per ad set? How do you keep track of variations? I give any creative $100. Any creative. As good, bad, ugly, smart, whatever you think, I give it $100. From there, I can keep and kill. The technicalities of should it be at the ad set level or the ad level, as long as that ad has spent $100, I know if this thing is going to be good. If it's not spent $100, it's gone. Some people will set up an ad set and then have like 10 different ads in there. Cool. You don't know if it's good, bad, or ugly until after the $100. Some people will set up one campaign, one ad set, one ad, and force feed this fucker. That's cool too. Thumbs up, my preferred method. So it's not $100 per ad set. It's $100 per ad. And that's how I know if this stuff actually works. Steph says, how are the squats looking? Horrible. My legs hurt. My butt is sore. My inner thighs have not been worked out. And I think I'm done doing lunges. No more of those. And Alvin says, nationwide is way better in targeting and larger ad spend. I agree too, as well. So again, basic structure is the following. My clients are making $400,000 a month because I have mastered this very simple message. Understanding a marketing message and its awareness stages. This is why my clients are having success. I have a client that just told me they did $200,000 a month. My client, this one in particular, made $400,000 a month, probably going to be closer to 600 by the time you see this video. And here's proof. This stuff is working. It's not difficult. It's not challenging. It's mastering a very simple idea, which is your marketing message needs to be different based upon their awareness stage and their avatar. Controversy, hooks, making fun of, gap, and curiosity. If you ever see something on Instagram that triggers you, makes you say, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with people? That is the unaware stage. I had no idea Jake Paul was such an asshole. Guess what? You are the unaware stage. Then you'll start seeing ads that are like, it's not your fault, you've been taught wrong, this versus that. This is where you'll see ads like the keto thing saying, if you've been trying to lose weight and you've been unsuccessful and you've been craving hunger, and you've been hungry this whole time, it's not your fault, you've been taught wrong. You just need to try something different. And very quickly, we're at the product stage. Very quickly, we're at the solution stage where we're talking about a new vehicle to get to the goal. You should try keto. Keto is the process of going from carb heavy to protein heavy. It has all these benefits, and it will take you from being super hungry all day long to feeling full. You'll lose all this weight. You'll be happier and healthier. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Yes, and here's proof. Look at the results. Look at the case studies. Look at the testimonials. Isn't it wild? Oh my God. Now that you know about this, we're going to go ahead and tell you about the product. And then we're going to ask you to go ahead and buy it. Because if you watch the end of any QVC video, there's a call to action. There are deadlines. There are price increases. Supplies running out. They are making you want to buy. That's how this shit is supposed to work. Savas says, how often do you go live? Whenever I've got time, effort, energy. I've got a newborn, so you're viewing the one time, probably 6 weeks my brain is working as intended. So thank you for asking, but it's rough. Paul says, do I put creatives for each stage of awareness in the same ad set, dynamic, different ad sets, different steps in the funnel? It's really, really rough and difficult for me to answer the question. in this context, just like I said with Alvin, it's almost impossible for me to communicate as it should be because of all the different combinations and permutations of everything that you're mentioning right here. I'm going to avoid answering that question because if I do answer it specific to you, everyone else will follow that and it won't work as intended because each avatar and each stage and each setup is different. I will tell you that you're kind of on the right path. That's as far as I can go. And then Subhan says, how does this work with service businesses? I'm just confused. It's easier than you think. I talked about plumbing earlier in the show. Just kind of review the stuff, and I gave you some examples. You can use that for service-based businesses pretty easily. I think that is all the questions. I think that's everything. Let me check. Yep, Instagram is good. Facebook is there. YouTube is there. And then thrown in the compliments, right? So if you have any questions, there you go, right? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas, ask them now. Because if like 10, 15 seconds goes by where there's not a question, I'll just take that as a signal of like it's too late and y'all went back to sleep because it's 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. for my audience. And then, peace out, good night, right? So keep them coming while they can. This is a rare opportunity. Mason says, do you ever try to keep a certain percentage split for organic on your posts, like podcast posts, free lead magnet comment? Very good question. I am of the belief that we are in the who market, as in who are you, not what do you do, not how do you do it, not why do you do it, but who are you? And just as importantly, I believe clients are more attracted to the who than the what and the where and the why and the how. So that means you need to talk about who you are, show authority, show authenticity, document that stuff, make sure that they know that you, the who, know the hell of what you're doing. And the higher up you are in the who chain, the better clients you will attract. I'll give you the opposite example. If you were there around about 5 years ago, everybody was talking about funnels and funnels and funnels and funnels. And pretty quickly, those clients realized that the funnel people were the worst people. They relied on the tool instead of expertise. They had no idea about results. They were just thinking that the vehicle, the method, the thing that they had was God's gift to earth and their method to millions. That was how they joined the industry in the first place. Oh my God, I just need another funnel. Now you're seeing the same exact thing with the automation crowd. Oh my God, I just need another automation. If I get the right automation, I'll be wildly successful. I'll make a boatload of money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That will follow the same rebound off of the how and the why and the what, and it's going to slide all the way back to who. As soon as somebody has a bad result here with a bad provider or a bad tool, they go, nope. Who is the guy on the phone? Who is selling you the stuff? Whose company is that? And that's why you've seen a lot of people first build personal brands and then figure out the skills, and then personal brands and figure out the skills. And each time that swings, it swings better, faster, and stronger to a point where they can be in the personal brand space for a very, very, very long time. For example, nobody knows what the hell Alex Hormozi sold on those webinars at all. We have no clue. None. We didn't see what was in the book. We don't know what it's going to get us. We don't know when it's going to get here. We don't know why we're doing it. We bought it because of why. Why did we buy it? We bought it because of who was selling it. We are in the who market. Iman Ghazi, by far, has the worst fulfillment and back end in the industry. It is a dirty little secret. Everybody's cool with it, but it's who. We are in the who market. So when I think of my Instagram, my YouTube, and all that, it's about those podcasts, 80%, because it helps figure out who with authenticity, with authority, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ashton says, how do Grand Slam offers play into this, like low risk to client risk reversal guarantees? So I have two thoughts on this. The first is that this is exactly the same thing as the funnels thing that I mentioned earlier. Everyone believes that they just need a Grand Slam offer and that will be their method to millions. That is incorrect. It is not true, but it was just something that like hit that we all grabbed onto. I did the same with funnels or if I just had a good ad. And to this day, I still believe that if I just had this perfect ad, everything would be cool. So I've got a swipe of like 10,000 ads. Okay. It's not bad to have this. It's just a description, right? So Grand Slam offer is another how. So you're saying, how did Grand Slam offers play into this mix? It doesn't. The how is the tool. Just like the best plastic surgeons are not known for their method or their scalpel or where they do surgery, they're well known because of who they are and who they hang out with and which conferences they present at with and who they did surgery with. It's the who market, right? So Ashton, instead of going ahead and defaulting to saying, oh, Grand Slam offers, right? It should be the Grand Slam who. You figure that out and all that shit is going to work. There are components to a Grand Slam who, which is an idea I just realized right now, which sounds like great, like top tier sentence, right? But there are components to this. And to deeply answer your question on how does Grand Slam offers play into this mix, it doesn't. I don't think that we are in the Grand Slam offer space anymore. I think the Grand Slam offer space has a negative association. And I gave a speech about this 3 years ago. When I am on the receiving end of a risk reversal or guarantee, I go, oh, I guess it doesn't work. Not because it works or it doesn't, but because all the other bad people who have bad offers and don't actually do stuff are using that to just get clients. So those are my thoughts on that kind of idea. Savas says, do you recommend I stick with one niche or focus or have some flexibility? My thought process is that you don't actually need to focus on a niche. That is a trap. What you need to focus on is the type of client or the who. So if you say I work with every small business that I can find, it's going to be difficult on fulfillment. It's going to be difficult on expertise. It's going to be difficult on getting high dollars. But if you say I only work with blank companies, like multi-location, regional, or national, the difficulty will not be in $1,000 contracts or $2,000 contracts, but the difficulty will be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and $30,000 contracts. And I know plenty of people that have 3, 4, or 5 different avatars, making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a month. One of them are my clients that have 3 or 4 or 5 different avatars. That's no big deal. They are not successful because of or despite of, but because most businesses have 3, 4, or 5 avatars. They just do. And what you need to do is you need to figure out that avatar, create a document that answers their questions, solves their problem, get the stuff done, and your fulfillment will become 45 minutes. Then the next avatar, document, SOP it, record it, fulfillment is 45 minutes. If you don't have those clients, you can start creating content about those clients and saying, if you were my client, here's what we would do. So to answer your question in its entirety, I believe that this is a difficult and false answer. Do I stick with one or have some flexibility? I think the default should be have some flexibility, have 3 or 4 or 5 different avatars, flesh it out, build it out, and you'll be off to the races very quickly. Yugen says, what was the turning point in your marketing? The first turning point in my marketing was me buying a program, because that made me say, oh shit, this stuff actually works. The second turning point in my marketing career, I guess you could say with this stage in this phase, is that when I took on a client who was my best friend, who saw that I posted stuff and says, yes, I want this. We ran a test campaign and people started texting and messaging and coming in. And that was really my turning point, realizing that this shit could work, not just for myself, but for other people. It's been on the way up and up ever since. Little Walken says, I'm late. What are we talking about? Marketing. That's it. I was trying to be funny, but it didn't come out. Okay, so Gabriel is very astute. Gabriel says, what ad strategy are you using with the Andromeda update? Gabriel, A+ question. You didn't even know. Everything I just referred to is about the Andromeda update. So there you go. Someone says, avatar, in what vein do you mean an AI agent? No, I mean client avatar as in the person who should be buying your stuff. Demographics, psychographics, beliefs, pain points, goals, objectives, the components of their business, their margins. I'm talking about what they believe to be true, the cult building sentences that they use, their tribal language, their best employees, their worst employees, how often they hire, how fast their clients come in and out, how often their clients come back, how much their clients actually spend in an average 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months, the type of services and products and services that they use and they sell most frequently. I'm talking about the type of scripts that they use on the phone. I'm talking about their beliefs, their desires. I'm talking about what stands out to them, what they like, they dislike in their marketing, that kind of stuff. That's what I mean by avatar. Subhan says, what funnel would you recommend if your budget is $3,000? Until now, we've got $3,500 in sales, $1,900 spent. All right, so 3,500 divided by 1,900, that's 1x. I'll just say it's 2. I'm assuming you're running like an e-commerce kind of thing, and you've got like a 30% margin, so you're technically losing money. You need a 3x minimum for shit to be working, probably 6 to 7x to make it make sense to keep going on. If you're in the local business or the high ticket sales or the face-to-face business, maybe there's an opportunity for a better sales process, but I'll pretend you're an e-com, right? The raw suggestions, 35,000. Okay, got it. All right, so let's take a look. 35,000 divided by 1,900. So at 18x, you're well above the green, my man. Ain't nothing wrong with it at all, right? High ticket face-to-face. Okay, cool, right? So it sounds like this is just working as intended. You just spent 1,900. You made 3,500, so 18x, right? If a client was coming to me, and I believe this is what you're asking, if this was my scenario, client coming to me, what would I do? What would I say? How would I think, right? I would start to expand my awareness stage. The reason why I say that, it's highly likely that you've only targeted people who are most aware or about to buy or people who are very close. Those individuals will need a very different message than the people who are problem aware, solution aware, unaware. So I would stand there and say, I am of the belief, then we need to take a chunk of money and use that to expand our awareness stage. Ads, marketing messages, emails, text messages, communications, you name it. And I'm taking a CMO approach, not a ROI, direct marketer kind of approach. I'm talking in terms of 3 to 5 years, not 30, 60 days. You know what I mean? So I would start to think about expanding that awareness stage and moving the marketing messages and realizing that we probably only hit these people, but now we need to hit these people and then hit these people and these people and these people and make marketing assets around those stages. So there you go. And by the way, great campaign. 18x is fucking top tier, man. He says, I got these clients from fear-based marketing. Love it. Thank you. Cool, dude. Yeah. Top tier. Well done. All right. No more new questions. I'll give you all 30 seconds to ask your question, or I'm going to take that as a good night, goodbye kind of thing. Because Alien Earth needs a viewing. All right. Let's see. Okay, so there's like a 30-second delay. All right, I'm going to wait another 30 seconds. I just realized I saw the banner go back and forth. So yeah, ask your questions now or forever hold your peace. And we'll take it from there. All right. Walken says, I'm in the logistics industry. Okay, he's in trucking. All right. We own a CRM. Okay, so you have a CRM that runs security checks and verifying truckers. What do you recommend in this marketing? There's two questions. First off, I'm assuming I'm right by saying you have a CRM that checks that the truckers are actually truckers. That's what I'm assuming, right? If I'm wrong, you're going to have to correct me. The second thing is that just like Salesforce or Oracle or any of the sales CRM providers like HubSpot, I would take a look at how they grew their businesses. And HubSpot built the idea of inbound marketing. I'm going to sense check that real fast. HubSpot inbound marketing book. Yeah, okay. It was written by one of the founders. They wrote a book that made people say, you do not even know, you are completely unaware of the fact that the way people are buying from businesses now is not blah, blah, blah. They're not waiting to come to talk to you and then getting sales objection. They're doing all this stuff, research, and then they're going inbound to you. So that book is called Inbound Marketing. He wrote that to address the most unaware stage, right? People read that book and they quickly became aware of a problem. They don't have inbound marketing set up. They became aware of a solution called HubSpot, which sets up your inbound marketing. And then they became aware of the product. And then ultimately they bought. So I would take that approach, expand that circle. You could look at the way HubSpot does their marketing, starting from 15 years ago with that book, or even probably Oracle's a bad idea. Salesforce, maybe. I would stick with HubSpot, yeah, and how they wrote that book to address the unaware market. And then people naturally converted. I believe you could do the same. You probably don't want to hear that. You probably want to hear something a little bit easier. But I'll tell you what, if you wrote a 100-page book that made truckers, that made businesses totally, suddenly aware that they need security and verifying people's identity, you'd have explosive and exciting growth. Instead of just trying to say, I just got to get one more trucking guy who can do 15 applications every 8 weeks. You know what I mean? That's the difference. Michael Stevens says, what's the best way to start out with minimal capital? This is a very challenging scenario. By using the word minimal capital, and I don't mean to pick on you, I'm just saying in general, you're already introducing a very strong constraint. And I will tell you that the best way to start is by getting a client. It's a very different line of thinking, right? The best way to start is by getting a client. Friend, family, associate, freebie, trial, don't care. Best friends or not. Get a client, get them a result, use that to get paying clients. And you'll realize pretty quickly, you don't need any money to get a client. You just need effort. So there you go. Gabriel says, with the update, Meta wants us to put the top and bottom in one ad set. Well done. For the coaching industry, what kinds of ads are you creating for each stage? I'm not sharing that for shit, Gabriel. You brave motherfucker. Okay, that's my good stuff. All right. Ain't no way I'm sharing that with anybody. It's my plan to grow to $1 million a month. And I'm going to keep that under lock and key. And I know some of you all are finding the page. You're not. We got decoys, motherfucker. So good fucking luck. Right? So, Gabriel, good on you for asking. But I'm not sharing the kinds of ads that I'm running beyond the fact that I'm going to say they are not videos. They are not hooks. They're not cute. They're not fun. But they only directly appeal to those awareness stages. Flip is throwing fires. Appreciate it. Lil Watkins says, thank you. Are you open for a private call? Thank you for asking. I am, but I charge for my time. If $375 for an hour is okay with you, you can send me a DM. I'll send you a payment link and we'll talk. Michael Stevenson says something very accurately, which is in the beginning, nothing is below your quote unquote dignity. I will tell you, Michael Stevenson's right now, nothing is even below my dignity. And once you start having these like dignity ego conversations, ooh, it is a spiral. I still give free advice, as you can see it. I still talk to people about how I can help them. I still run test runs on campaigns. So in the beginning, nothing is below your dignity. And to this day, nothing is below my dignity. Savas says, I'm saving Gotham. I'm also wearing black. I appreciate the love, my man. Yeah. I think, yeah, it would be Batman. Yeah. I think you're right. All right. Let's take a look. I'll give you all 30 seconds for another Q&A. Q&A. Question or answer, and then we'll see. Starting now. And I'll check to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think that's everything. For JWP and Hinsdale and Vinay and Nacho and PK, they're getting the tail end. You guys are going to have to watch the beginning. Michael Stevenson says, that's true. Trust and value have establishments and increments. That's a very accurate sentence. Wise beyond what I believe your icon shares. Trust and value is established in increments. That goes on a t-shirt. That's very good. 10 more seconds, guys. And that's it. Peace out.